I was blown away by it. And when I first saw it with a crowd, that's when it really freaked me out. Emperor.
Russell Crowe is known for his powerful performances and larger-than-life persona. But what if I told you that behind the scenes of his blockbuster films lies a revelation that will shock his fans? In an astonishing admission, Crowe has revealed he couldn't stand one of his co-stars, creating a stir that might make you rethink everything you thought you knew about the man behind the roles. Who could possibly provoke such strong feelings from this acclaimed actor, and what went down on set that led to this candid confession? This explosive revelation exposes the complexities of working in Hollywood, where collaboration sometimes breeds conflict, and the performances we adore may hide the truth of a tumultuous partnership. Remember when watching a gritty, raw performance would leave you questioning where the actor ended and the character began? Russell Crowe wasn't born on a Hollywood backlot or trained in the halls of elite drama schools. His roots weren't manicured. They were muddy, working class, and cinematic in a way only real life can be. His journey began far from the Oscar stage, on the southern tip of the Pacific, wrapped in the scent of film reels and the grit of backstage work. Russell Ira Crowe was born on April 7, 1964, in Strathmore Park, Wellington, New Zealand. His mother, Jocelyn Yvonne Wemyss, and his father, John Alexander Crowe, worked as film set caterers. A world of artifice and storytelling surrounded them from day one. His maternal grandfather, Stan Wemyss, wasn't just another family figure. He was a respected cinematographer who filmed combat footage during World War II for the New Zealand Film Unit. Crowe came into this world with film embedded in his DNA and legacy whispering in his ears. His ancestry was a patchwork of cultures and traditions: Maori, Ngati Porou, Welsh, Scottish, English, Irish, Norwegian, Italian, Swedish, an identity as complex as the characters he would one day portray. And there was athletic blood, too. Russell was related to New Zealand cricket legends Martin and Jeff Crowe. Even more curiously, he descended from Simon Fraser, the 11th Lord Lovat, the last man to be beheaded in Britain. It was as if destiny wrote him as a man made for drama, with roots deep in history's blood and pageantry. At the age of 4, Russell's family moved from Wellington to Sydney, Australia, chasing opportunity as they continued catering for TV productions. These weren't just jobs. They were the silent classrooms where young Russell watched actors become other people. Directors shape chaos into stories, and crews grind behind the scenes. This was his childhood playground: lighting rigs, food carts, rolling cameras. And at just 5 or 6 years old, he found himself cast in a brief role on the Australian TV series Spy Force. It was his first brush with the lens, not as a son of set workers, but as a performer. The seed had been planted. He attended Vaucluse Public School and Sydney Boys High School. But it wasn't the desk that held his interest. It was the stage. He absorbed character, nuance, rhythm. Yet when he was 14, the family moved back to New Zealand, and everything shifted again. He went on to study at Auckland Grammar School and Mount Roskill Grammar School. But his path wasn't academic. At 16, he dropped out, eyes set on a dream few could see. Music became his first serious pursuit. Under the name Russ LaRock, he began performing in local clubs, releasing singles in the early 80s. The most telling of them was "I Want to Be Like Marlon Brando, Not just a title, but a declaration. Russell didn't want the fame. He wanted the depth, the danger, the vulnerability wrapped in male armor that Brando had mastered. Crowe chased that, not chart hits. He fronted the rock band Roman Antics, which later evolved into 30 Odd Foot of Grunts, a name as defiant and rough-hewn as the music they played. He wasn't just a face on a stage. He wrote the songs, sang the pain, grit under his nails, mic in his hand, sweat dripping under stage lights. The world hadn't noticed him yet, but he was forging identity. In the early 1980s, he returned to Australia to chase acting. Not dreams, roles. He got them too, on the stage first. He played Dr. Frank N. Furter in the Rocky Horror Picture Show from 1986 to 1988. He did Grease in 1983. Musical theater gave him space to be explosive, strange, vulnerable, seductive. He was earning his scars in front of live crowds. He was becoming Crowe. He started picking up small parts in TV shows like The Young Doctors, Neighbors, Living with the Law, and more. Nothing glamorous, but every bit of it taught him something. Timing, camera angles, emotional honesty. Then came the films. First, Prisoners of the Sun, 1990, then The Crossing. Small beginnings. But in 1991, Proof changed everything. He played Andy, a dishwasher who forms a tense friendship with a blind photographer. The performance was magnetic, raw, and real. He won the Australian Film Institute AFY Award for Best Supporting Actor. His rise had begun. 1 year later, Romper Stomper hit theaters and didn't ask for permission. Crowe played Hando, a brutal skinhead neo-Nazi. It was violent, ugly, polarizing, and unforgettable. Critics either recoiled or raved, but no one ignored him. The film won him the AFI Best Actor Award. It wasn't just acting, it was transformation. He could disappear into darkness and still hold a sliver of humanity. The world took notice. He followed that up with The Sum of Us, 1994, playing a gay plumber navigating his relationship with his father. In an era still hesitant to explore LGBTQ+ characters with honesty, Crowe delivered a performance that was tender and grounded, silencing doubters who thought he could only scream and rage. He could also listen, feel, be. Hollywood came calling. In 1995, he appeared alongside Gene Hackman, Sharon Stone, and a young Leonardo DiCaprio in The Quick and the Dead. The next year, he was a villain opposite Denzel Washington in Virtuosity. But it was LA Confidential, 1997, that cemented him. Playing Bud White, a detective with fists for justice and a heart full of quiet sorrow, Crowe exploded onto the American stage. He wasn't just an import anymore. He was a star. And yet none of it happened overnight. The fame, the recognition, the reverence. It was a long, slow burn through late-night gigs, rejections, side roles, and pure persistence. He didn't charm his way in. He carved his place with blood, sweat, and depth. Crowe often reflected on this long ascent with clarity. It wasn't overnight. It was years of hard work and believing in myself, even when others doubted me. He knew where he came from, knew what it took, and never once did he pretend otherwise. Russell Crowe's wife and how he met her. Off-screen, his story has been just as gripping, though told in quieter, more human tones. Love, loss, fatherhood, and the long road toward finding peace all shaped the man behind the roles. And like in the movies, His relationships began with unexpected meetings, forged through collaboration, and endured the unpredictable arc of real life. Russell Crowe was once married to Danielle Spencer, an Australian actress, singer, and songwriter. Their paths crossed in 1989 on the set of the Australian drama The Crossing. Crowe was a rising star, fresh in the industry, while Spencer was already familiar with showbiz, the daughter of music legend Don Spencer. The chemistry between them wasn't just for the screen. It was instant, authentic, something that went beyond scripts and scenes. Their relationship would ebb and flow over the years. Like many young loves, theirs had pauses. Both went on to pursue their careers, occasionally reuniting but never quite aligning, until 2001. That year, something shifted. The timing felt right. They were both older, more grounded. Crowe had become a household name by then thanks to Gladiator and was navigating the heights of global fame. But with Danielle, things felt normal, real. She knew him before the world did, and that mattered. On April 7th, 2003, Russell and Danielle married at his cattle property in Nana Glen, New South Wales. It was his 39th birthday. The setting was rustic and intimate, a far cry from red carpets and movie premieres. They had 2 sons together, Charles, born in 2003, and Tennyson, born in 2006. For a while, it looked like they had found a rhythm. But as Crowe's career intensified, so did the pressure on their relationship. The long shoots, the constant travel, the media attention. By 2012, they announced their separation. The divorce was finalized in April 2018. Crowe, always honest but private, reflected on the breakup with humility. "It was hard," he once said, "but it was necessary." Even in separation, the bond remained. Co-parenting their boys became the new foundation of their connection, and Danielle continued to be a steady presence in his life. Years later, Crowe would joke that the divorce was more expensive than any war I've fought on screen. But behind the humor was pain, because for him, that chapter was never just another Hollywood romance. It was love. It was family. After the divorce, Crowe didn't rush back into the dating scene. He focused on his sons, his music, and rebuilding life outside the spotlight. He spent more time at his rural estate in New South Wales, away from the noise of the industry. But in 2013, during the filming of Broken City, fate quietly introduced him to someone new. Brittany Theriot was a small part of the production, a minor acting role that didn't make headlines. At the time, she wasn't a name the public knew. A Louisiana-born beauty with a background in real estate, she wasn't chasing the spotlight. She wasn't part of the Hollywood machine. And maybe that's exactly what drew Crowe in. They weren't romantically linked at the time. In fact, for years after that film wrapped, there was no public mention of them being anything more than acquaintances. But by 2020, that changed. They were seen together, first casually, then regularly. Crowe, always protective of his privacy, never confirmed the relationship outright. He didn't need to. The photographs spoke for themselves. The pair walking hand in hand, playing tennis, visiting vineyards, even attending events side by side. Their relationship unfolded slowly, quietly. They were first spotted kissing in public in 2020, setting off speculation. But neither rushed to make announcements. It was a mature romance, built not on flash, but on time. By early 2025, multiple outlets confirmed that Russell and Britney had become engaged. The engagement wasn't confirmed with a press release or a tabloid exclusive. It emerged through close sources and subtle signals. There was no diamond ring Instagram post, no formal announcement, just whispers, nods, and the visible comfort they shared when photographed together. Friends describe Britney as grounded, intelligent, and fiercely private. She works as a real estate agent, but once aspired to act. Crowe has said little about her in public, but he doesn't need to. His actions, the way he's introduced her to family, invited her into his rural world, stood beside her at events, speak volumes. They haven't rushed to set a wedding date. Some reports in early 2025 suggested plans had been put on ice, but not because of any crisis, just life. Russell, now 60, is focused on projects that matter, including directing and philanthropic work. Britney, 32, continues her work in real estate and supports him behind the scenes. What's telling is how both of Crowe's major relationships began. Not through apps, not through agents, but through shared work, on film sets, in the chaos and collaboration of creative life. Both Danielle and Britney knew him not as a celebrity, but as a collaborator, a co-worker, a man. And that may be the key. Russell Crowe has never chased a fairy tale romance. His love stories have been built on something sturdier: respect, shared history, connection beyond performance. Even his divorces have been handled with grace. No feuds, no scandals. Just real people navigating real life. Today, he remains close with Danielle, cherishes time with his sons, and continues to build a life that values depth over drama. Whether or not a wedding to Britney Theriot happens, what's clear is this: Crowe has found peace, a partner who understands him, a life away from the spotlight that once defined him. His story isn't about dramatic breakups or whirlwind flings. It's about growth, about letting love evolve, about embracing the quiet parts of connection that the world rarely sees. Russell Crowe played gladiators, kings, detectives, and outlaws, but his most honest role has been himself: a father, a partner, a man trying to live truthfully. And maybe, just maybe, that's the most heroic story of them all. Two sons: Charles Spencer Crowe, born in 2003, and Tennyson Spencer Crowe, born in 2006. Crowe took his role as a father seriously, more than seriously in fact. In interviews, he spoke often about how fatherhood changed him, how it softened him, grounded him, forced him to think beyond the next film, the next role. He once said, "My primary purpose in life is to be a good dad." Danielle, too, poured her energy into building a nurturing home, stepping back from the spotlight to raise their sons. For a while, it worked. They balanced fame with family. Crowe took fewer roles, spent more time in Australia, and tried to live life out of the tabloids. But the pressures of distance, career demands, and evolving lives eventually caught up with them. In 2012, they quietly separated. There was no scandal, no mudslinging, just a mutual recognition that something had shifted. Their divorce wasn't finalized until 2018, 6 years after their separation. That slow process wasn't about conflict, it was about respect. Neither rushed to cut ties. They focused on raising their boys and maintaining a friendship. Today, they remain amicable, bound forever by their sons and a history too deep to erase. Since the divorce, Russell Crowe has found love again, but in a much different light. His current partner is Brittany Theriot, an American former actress turned real estate agent. They were first linked in 2020, though sightings go back to 2019 when they were photographed playing tennis together in Sydney. From the beginning, their relationship unfolded differently. No red carpets, no press releases, just quiet dinners, travel, and time spent at Crowe's farm, his favorite sanctuary. Brittany Theriot, born in Louisiana, isn't part of the Hollywood machinery. She had a brief acting stint, most notably in Broken City, but left the industry to pursue real estate. By the time she and Crowe connected, she was far removed from the flash of celebrity life, and that's likely what drew him in. After years of intense scrutiny, Crowe found peace in someone who wasn't chasing the spotlight. As of now, they do not have any children together. Their life is deliberately low profile. They travel between Australia and the US, often attending rugby matches, charity events, or simply spending time off-grid. While the public knows little about their dynamic, insiders describe it as calm, supportive, and a grounding force for Russell. This second chapter in Crowe's personal life isn't about fanfare. It's about restoration, healing. After a whirlwind career and a high-profile love story, what he's building with Theriot seems rooted in simplicity. And for a man who's lived at the eye of the storm for so long, that simplicity is powerful. Luxury real estate and property investments. Russell Crowe has never been shy about investing in high-end real estate, and his most iconic property is his sprawling penthouse in Sydney's exclusive Woolloomooloo area. Purchased in 2003 for $14.35 million, this waterfront apartment was the largest single apartment sale in Sydney at the time. The property covers 1,000 square meters and boasts 11 bedrooms, a private lift, a marina berth, and luxurious amenities like a Scandinavian sauna he had installed for $10,000. Now relisted on the market, this home is estimated to be worth between $42 million and $50 million, a testament to both the prestige of its location and Crowe's long-term vision. But his investments go beyond city skylines. In New South Wales, Crowe owns a vast ranch that spans farmland and multiple houses. This estate has become both a personal retreat and a reflection of his love for the land. With recreational facilities and expansive open spaces, the ranch represents not just a purchase, but a lifestyle, rural, grounded, and unapologetically Australian. Art, collectibles, and memorabilia. Beyond bricks and mortar, Crowe has long been a dedicated collector. His taste spans from prestigious Australian artworks to some of the most unique film memorabilia ever seen at auction. Among his collection was Charles Blackman's painting, The Suitor, which sold for 360,000 Australian dollars, a high price that speaks to both its artistic value and Crowe's eye for significance. He's also owned a 17th century Flemish tapestry, 18th century dueling pistols, a bronze warship cannon, and musical instruments of exceptional rarity, including an 1890 Italian violin. One of the more bizarre but fascinating acquisitions was a mosasaur skull, purchased from none other than Leonardo DiCaprio, demonstrating his unique combination of celebrity, curiosity, and historical interest. extravagant auction. The Art of Divorce. Crowe made headlines around the world in 2018 with an auction he titled The Art of Divorce. This wasn't just a sale, it was a spectacle, a cathartic act wrapped in drama and flair. The auction raised approximately $3.7 million and featured 227 items that charted Crowe's professional life and personal history. Film props, fine art, and luxury items were all on display, available for the highest bidder to take home a piece of cinematic legacy. Highlights from the auction included the iconic Gladiator breastplate, which fetched 125,000 Australian dollars, and the Roman chariot from the same film, which sold for 65,000 Australian dollars. Equally unforgettable was a brown leather jockstrap worn in Cinderella Man that sold for 7,000 Australian dollars, an item both humorous and deeply symbolic. There was also a life-sized rubber horse from Gladiator that went for 6,710 Australian dollars, blending movie magic with collector eccentricity. The violin, 135,000 Australian dollars. The Rolex from his watch collection, 40,000 Australian dollars. The Grammy Award originally presented to music legends, 150,000 Australian dollars. In total, the auction wasn't just about downsizing, it was a powerful moment of reinvention and letting go. Vehicles and other luxury purchases. Like many in Hollywood, Crowe has a passion for luxury vehicles. He's been spotted driving a variety of high-end cars, including multiple Mercedes-Benz models and a Porsche Cayenne. His collection doesn't stop at four wheels, though. He has also owned vintage motorcycles, tapping into a love for classic engineering and raw power. His taste for transport is about more than appearances. These vehicles reflect his personality. Powerful, elegant, but never flashy, for the sake of attention. Each car and motorcycle adds a layer to the story of a man who values substance as much as style, business ventures, and hobbies. Russell Crowe doesn't just spend money on personal indulgences. He's also a serious businessman and investor. His most high-profile venture is his co-ownership of the South Sydney Rabbitohs, a rugby club with deep cultural roots in Australia. His investment wasn't just financial, it was emotional, tied to legacy, community, and pride. Beyond sports, Crowe has shown a deep interest in music. He has bought rare instruments and supported charity concerts, blending personal passion with public benefit. Whether playing, performing, or funding, music has remained a lifelong love that shapes how he allocates time and resources. Philanthropy and charitable giving. Generosity has never been far from Crowe's spending. Over the years, he has made several notable charitable contributions. One widely acknowledged act was his support for a Jewish school's library, which had been damaged during the filming of Cinderella Man. Rather than distance himself from the incident, Crowe contributed financially to rebuild and restore. His giving is often quiet, rooted in a sense of personal responsibility and the desire to uplift where he can. He has supported community causes, education, and disaster relief, not as a PR move, but as an extension of who he is. Russell Crowe's net worth in 2025 isn't just a number, it's a legacy. From sword-wielding warrior to behind-the-scenes investor, he's evolved with grace, grit, and gravitas. He didn't just play gladiators, he became one in life, fighting through divorce, public scrutiny, and career highs and lows. If you see yourself as resilient, ambitious, and unafraid to reinvent, then Russell Crowe will inspire you. You've seen the facts. Now take the story with you. Elegance in hardship, fire in creativity, and courage in business. That's Russell Crowe. That's $120 million worth of fight, flair, and future.